It's got to August and it's flipping freezing. That was weird, wasn't it? Really high-pitched, squeaky voice there, chap. Anyway, it's more Bob. Of course it's more Bob. What else do you expect? Crying out loud. And it's 15 degrees. 7th of August. There you go. Enjoy the video. So, you'll know that on the tops of the bottom wing, this bit, the outer wing, there's 2 holes. And the deck is designed to drop into those 2 holes. So what I really want to do here is to line this all up so the top of the wing and the swage are in line, and then find out how big that gap is there, because I'm not going to use a stack of washers because I think it looks really untidy. What I'm going to do is use bloody great big metric nuts like this. There's a nut, see? Grind the edges off it. Paint it, then that can go in the gap. Thus. In fact, that one's more or less exactly the right flipping size for in there. So I'll measure it all, do that, drop the bolts down, bolt the deck into place, and we'll get that done. And it's 3:15, it's all 10 past 3. I have a coffee. Oh, here we are, coffee. Nice coffee. Right, so you don't need to watch me doing this. You've got a rough idea of what it's I'm doing. You don't need to watch me shouting at it, and I don't need to spend 4 hours editing it. So it's just really come in here. You can see there is the top of the bolt. Now normally you have a threaded section in here, but they're an absolute pain in the arse to work with. So on these wings, they didn't exist. I'm not going to cry about that because I can reach up underneath and put a nut on it. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, because that honestly is like 4 million times easier. And on this side, the only reason the tape's on here is because the wing was just sitting out a little bit and it was in danger of catching on the edge of the door as I opened and closed the door. Right. And I fixed the door. I can check that out beautifully. Right, I've also fixed the deck in place. Now I've fixed the door, of course. That bottom edge is not looking perfect, but this edge is. I need to move the wing forwards by that much. I can't get the deck to go any further back because of this damage here. So I'm going to see if I can get the wing to move forwards. That shouldn't be too many problems, I don't think. And on this side, again, the deck is fixed down. Don't worry about the scruffiness on the paint. It's just I've started to flat back some of the areas that need polishing. So it's just a very, very slight 1500 sheen to the paint finish. And on this side, I still need to paint the handles, the fork handles, black. So both doors are closing nicely now, which I'm delighted about. Do you want to know what it is? It was. It's a weird one, this one. So basically, when I close the door, you're not looking, you're looking straight at the light. Don't look at the light! When I closed the door, this seal down here was pinched there. It was really, really, really tight there. Fine here, fine here. So I just percussed that back with a piece of wood. If anything, I can pull the door back a bit now, having done that, which I should be able to do just by undoing the Allen key bolts. I can push the door that way a tiny bit. I might even be able to rotate it. If I undid all of the hinge bolts, I can rotate the door a tiny bit. That will probably fix that. But it fits around the top edges up here. A-post, nice, front to back. It's nice. You see you've got a nice clean reflection going down the side of the car. You know everything's lined up. So yeah, it takes not a long time. It takes me a while to get this, but I think if you don't do it right, it stands out like a dick in a bucket. And there we go with the bonnet down. Bonnet's not got the catch on the front yet, but I've got the lines right as they go down the side of the car. And that's polished. That's going to look spectacular. And on this side, again. And I see some cars go through auctions, and I see some cars at dealers that have been professionally restored. And I think, oh my God, really? because this shit is not easy. Now what I am going to have to do here somehow is I think I might have to just dress the bonnet back, because you can see here it's just sitting out very, 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 very slightly. Just needs a bit of a kind of palm hand on it. But you can see the top of the deck and the bonnet lines up. The gaps are good on either side. There you go. That's how they go. That's how they go together. It's been a long time coming, this project, but it's nearing the finish line. Once the tailgate's in, I'm going to start putting interior in it. I'm waiting for a couple of bits. I'm waiting for a couple of bits on the engine front to come in, and then there's no reason why I can't. I want the seats to go in, you see, before I work out how this transmission cover is going to fit in. Yes. So, as I pointed out already, because the gearbox is now hanging right through the top of the transmission tunnel, and this is an LT77 transmission tunnel that's been adapted very, very slightly, because obviously got the long stick conversion, and the gearbox should sit down, and that piece should come around over there. But because the chassis is a centimetre higher than it should be, I've had to cut that out, I've had to cut these bits out, etc, etc. I might even end up having to cut this piece out here just to clear this union with the transfer box here. And then the rest of this is fairly standard. So these, I've put new, it's a bit of a chunter here, Richard, but anyway, I put new riv nuts in to secure this top cover down. Now, this top cover had already been cut apart. This is what the top cover looks like when you're an LT77 in a Range Rover. Is this camera doing anything? Yes, it is. And that's kind of your ashtray, and kind of gear sticks come through there, handbrake comes through over here, cubby box on the back. That's what kind of what it looks like. All right. So I had that one, which was already cut apart. So I opted to save this one. And this fella, let's position you into the car. I'm just going to extend the legs on a tripod. There we are. Tripod is now extended, and you can see, great. So what I've effectively done, and I've taken the centre console out because I had to create a plate over the leading edge of the transmission tunnel, because believe it or not, these transmission tunnels still had the big hole that cut right up underneath the heater box for the LT95 gearbox surround. Because I took the plinth off, because it was just a big shambles, I've now got this set up here, and all of the holes line up. I shall put a piece of steel over this, or a piece of aluminium, something will go over that, and then probably something over here, but I'm going to work out yet what I do about the gearbox controls. The next thing I did was figure out what on earth is going on with this handbrake. So the best place I could do this is a handbrake from a post 1989 car. I probably could have gone for one slightly earlier, but there's no way could I get the handbrake to come up through this hole. I managed to get the cable long enough, but the problem was that the handbrake was then going to be too far forwards, and you wouldn't be able to operate it from the driver's seat, which is back there. As you see, things have been in and out of the car. So the handbrake now sits on a welded L section, nice big thick 4mm thick steel. Thank you. And literally just bolted down and onto the top of the transmission tunnel cover. And while it's got some movement, it doesn't actually do anything at all. It works. I'm happy with that. It's as good as it is in my car, in L95, where the handbrake is actually mounted here, because this centre console's lower, etc, etc, etc. Now, handbrake cable itself is fucked. You can see this. I've ordered another one. So looking at this side of the transmission tunnel, I didn't have this whole blanking plate here that originally the handbrake would have come through. That was completely missing from this. So Ben fashioned this out yesterday. It's sort of going to fit in. It'll do the job with a bit of sealant around the outside. It'll work. And obviously, because of the bracket that the handbrake's sitting on, at the moment it's not welded to the tunnel, it's just bolted down, and it seems to be strong enough to do that. I'm inclined to leave it that way because it's actually a faff trying to get the cable in otherwise. Now, the other thing that the observant amongst you amongst you, I've cracked that joke already, haven't I? Will have noticed is that this box actually overhangs the edge of the tunnel. Okay, the box was designed for the gearbox and for the kind of interior, but they didn't redesign the tunnel at the time, because the tunnel was designed, I guess originally the shape of the tunnel, the single pressing for the tunnel was prior to this. So all I do is I've made up a chunk of steel, which is going to go there, bolt on there, pop rivet through here, and then just seal the gap between the transmission tunnel and the edge of the box. With that in place, it's not pop riveted in yet, obviously, but that then sits down over the top and seals the gap. You with me? You are. Oh yes, good people. And then I'm just using M6 screws, machine screws, to hold the cover down. It doesn't need anything particularly, you know, berserk. And in fact, the rigidity of the tunnel and the handbrake improves when this is actually screwed down. Should get out here with some Silic Bang and wash the car off. Gotta love a British summer. You really have. Right, okay, gaskets. So where I can, I will buy a gasket. And where no gasket is available, or is on a lead time, or I happen to find myself without a gasket, I use gasket paper. Now, these are dead easy to make. All I would really do is use a hammer, believe it or not. And by using a hammer, you punch out the holes that you've got on or around the piece that you're trying to work with. So what we do, that should go on there now. It is going to go on there, and if you were being particularly finicky, sounds like a Roald Dahl character from a book, you would put a socket over that and just push it down. There we go, like that. Along the edges here, I'm not hitting with any great kind of load, so don't get all angry in the comments about it's an aluminium casing, what the fuck are you doing, etc, etc, etc. It's the easiest way to make a gasket. And I'm not using my finest panel beating hammer either. Right, so now we've got the overall shape of the gasket. Repeat on the inside. Ah, that might be a problem. You can see with my arms in the way. Sorry folks, work comes first. Production of videos comes some way down the pile. Here you can see how that now is more or less where I want it to be. In fact, I'm probably not even going to bother taking it off. Let me go and get me a knife. There it is there, knife. Just cutting through some of the bits where I'm not able to hammer. One gasket. Now, one thing that you're going to say, ah, yeah, but you haven't cut the bolt holes. Well, actually, someone did point out to me you can use a ball bearing, but I just tend to, I haven't got a ball bearing handy, hence not using a ball bearing. But again, you can sort of, I think what I'm going to do here is just cut across there, because I've got the gasket on the inside of the hole, and it gives me enough room then to get that bolt in. And on this corner over here, similarly, just cut the gasket around the hole. There we are. One gasket. Fucking made. How about that? Look at that. Hey? Richard, you're a genius. Right. I think next, now I've done that, I need to fill the gearbox up with oil, which I'll just do through the top plate here, refit the top mount, and then we'll get on with doing the rest of it. Okay, had to take the glass frame out because you couldn't get the courtesy lock in while the glass frame is in place. You can get the courtesy lock in, you just can't get the clip that holds it into the door. So, door shuts, door locks, okay, and then I put the handles on the inside as well here so that we could potentially unlock the door from the inside of the car and open it. All done. Right, so I thought you'd like to see now how I put this whole lot back together again, because the bolt that goes through there that pulls the two skins, the foreskin and the done that joke too many times, Richard, the door skin to the door shell, that bolt is affectionately known as, oh you fucking bastard. And basically it's called that because what you've effectively got is you've got this metal plate which you have to reach up inside the door and push inside this sheet here, and then you've got a bolt that goes in from the outside. Now, probably in hindsight, I should have remembered, oh you fucking bastard. I remembered that and actually put a captive nut in there, welded it in. But I didn't, and it's too late. Right, now you can see me, you're up on the bench. Okie dokie, so, got the door frame here, and the door frame is going to go down inside the door with the glass in it, isn't it? Oh, I'll tell you what, I forgot to put the window regulator in. Have you put the window regulator in? Because otherwise I will be swearing again. We don't need any more swearing today, I'll tell you. Regulator, now lift it, pop it in, and hang it. It's going to behave itself, I know it's going to behave itself. Hang it off the window winder in the hole, and then because the frame needs to go one side of it and not the other side, you kind of have to put a bolt in as well. What's happened here is that I put the regulator in the position I would put it onto the glass with. Right, so let me just put that bolt in there. That's going to hold the regulator against the door shell. Now there's nothing in the way, I can pop the frame down. The frame goes in to the door. Oh, come on. It's going in. Obviously got to negotiate your way around things like locks and other odds and sods. I don't know why that's on there. Other odds and sods. Put the back of the door down first. Right, the back of the door's down and in position. Now what I need is the 3 screws which are over here. And what I do is pop this screw in now. I actually need this one not to go any further down, otherwise we end up scratching all the paint. Now, the second problem I've got down here now is that I've gone the wrong side with the catches at the bottom, so I just need to take those out. It is fun, this. It honestly is fun. There's that one. Let's get this one out. There's these bracket things that go onto the bottom edge of the door is what I'm taking out. Okay, you are out. There's 2 of those. Then what I need to do is to tap the door down so the front edge lines up, and then put the other 2 screws in at the front. You don't want to tighten them up yet, I just want them in place so that the door doesn't go too much further down into the shell than it needs to. Otherwise you end up scratching the paint on the door frame itself. And then you'll be swearing. Ah. Like I'm going to in a minute, the screws are going. It will go in. I know it's going to go in. What I might do is I might put a 1/4 inch washer on these. I'm nearby, don't worry, fret not, rest thy sphincter. 1/4 inch washers. That was in. And this one's going to be in a second. So that's silly washer off. Put this silly washer on. Right, that's in, that's in. Great. Those two are good. Happy with that. Now, before you go any further, I strongly recommend you get You Fucking Bastard fitted. Because if, for any reason, You Fucking Bastard drops down inside this top rail on the door skin, then you'll end up taking it all apart again. And that's why it's called You Fucking Bastard. Now, what I tend to do is get myself armed up with a 7/16 on a handle like that, because that goes onto the end there. Position myself as close to the door as I possibly can be. I have a torch somewhere, here, Mr. Torch. Is this gonna, yes, that will work. Now, if we position the torch on the skin, now I can see into the hole, there we are, for now. The frame is kind of in the way a little bit there. Maybe that's the problem I've got with this. Now, that bit in this hand goes right the way up inside the door, and then you find the slot in the top edge of the skin, and I'll show you in a second because I've got a door skin off the car at the moment, and I can show you exactly where this fucking thing goes. And you drop it about 5 times, and you're not going to see what I'm doing because I can't see what I'm fucking doing. Oh, you fucking bastard. There we are. Right, I can see the thread now. Thinking about it. And of course, you can then go up to A&E with all the sharp metal scars on your arm, saying, no, honestly, I don't have problems. I've just been putting You Fucking Bastard into the door. You think I'm joking? Oh, this fucking thing. I wish I'd put a fucking... Oh, you bastard. Right, I can see it. And then what you do is, because you're so terrified of actually dropping it, that you actually hold your breath. Fucker. Now there's going to be an easier way of doing this, I know. I've got no doubt. I've yet to find it. Fucker. And if you don't put this in, what then happens is the door skin flaps around. Oh, I felt like it got in. get it? I think that might have got it. It has got it. It's got it. Oh, you fucking beauty. Right, so that fucking bastard's in there. Now, in celebration of that, let me go and show you where it goes to. Oh, I'll just kick those brackets across the floor. Silly arse. Now here's Bob's old foreskin, door skin. And basically, it goes up in there. So what you're effectively doing is you're pushing that bracket up inside that hole and then pushing the bolt through from the door shell and into the door skin. And what the danger is, what you can do, and I've done it, is that you push it up too far and then it drops inside this channel and then you're fucked royally, properly. So really you don't want to be pushing the big metal strip, you don't want to be pushing that metal strip any further up than you absolutely have to. Now you know all about that one. Right, so let's go back now and fit out the rest of this door, because it looks nice with the handle and everything on it. Whoops. Let's go back here. Now you can see, you can listen to me shouting at it then, can't you? Now, I've got these two catches. Make sure you put them on the right way round. That's the washer. So these bolts, these secure the bottom edge of the window channel. What I tend to do with these is not actually do them up too tight just yet, just locate them, because don't know yet how much up and down movement we're going to need on the door frame. And you basically got about 3 or 4 mil of kind of movement to shift things up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Right, I can't do that one at the moment because the window regulator is in the way. So let's put the glass on the regulator next. So window channel, come down here for that. Come down to the workshop floor with me, because I think you're going to find it quite useful. So we have got the glass is held up with a piece of masking tape, and I'm going to lower the glass down, right the way down to the bottom. Right the way down to the bottom of the car. Then I'm going to take out the bolts. You need to come up a little bit. Take out this bolt, so that's the last of the bolts that's securing the regulator. Because now the door frame is in, the regulator bolts can come out. So I need some washers for those as well. Then what we need to do is to wind the regulator so that the actual regulator is going to go that way up inside the door. Like that, you see, because there's space. And then, probably gone too far there. There we go. Then, when that's gone up like that, you can slide the regulator into the channel and then wind it the other way. And as soon as you get a bolt hole lined up, lob the bolt into it. Now, these bolts are spectacularly short, and the split washers on them are spectacularly knackered. I suspect the bolts are spectacularly short because otherwise the regulator might clip them. So we'll put one bolt in. I'm not going to tighten it up yet. I'll continue to rotate the regulator. Right, I can see all the bolt holes lining up. I'm going to have to go and get some more split washers, sorry folks. It's not like me to be this organised, is it? Right, here we go. Box of split washers. There we go. Let's take all these other stupid little washers off. Go in there. 2 more. Still got bloody, look at all the lines across my arm there from going up inside this door shell. So, right, just lower that down a little bit. That goes in. Nice. And then the last one. Now, I've still not lined anything up on this door yet. I still need to do that. Last one goes in there. Right, then I want this thing to kind of find its natural kind of level. You do have to fiddle and faff around with it a little bit just to get the bolts to line up. Now all the 4 bolts are in. I tend to nip them up. They've got spring washers on them. They're only 1/4 inch UNF. You don't need to go freaking berserk with these things. All you're really doing is just pulling it up to the door. So I'm just doing probably about 15 foot-pounds. Not a lot. You don't need, you've got spring washer. You don't need thread lock. You don't need any of that shit. There we are. Done that. Now, there's a rider. Just wind the window up. Oh, you ugly bastard. You ugly bastard. Oh, Mr. Gravity. I've got a socket here somewhere. The trouble is, this is a knackered old winder. Because when you're putting the window up for the first time, you will find that it doesn't really kind of want to play the game. And what you really need to do is to get the winder up to the top. This is the way I do it anyway. Right, it is up at the top now. Right, now generally by wiggling back and forth, it will now find its level. So, loosen 3 of the bolts, and just take the edge off the last bolt. Let the regulator find its natural position. I think the problem I'm going to have at the moment is that the whole frame is still loose. So I need to sort that out before I go any further. So, you can go back up here again. So, where are we? Obviously the door. There we are, there's the door aperture. So, first time you're going to close this thing, nothing is going to line up. So don't just slam it. It's not bad actually, but I think this edge could do with coming up. So I just lifted the door up and then I'm going to do this screw up. You see that? You can, just about. It's just at the bottom of the frame there. And that's good. Over here, that's good. Fucking lucky shot, eh? Right, now we've done those 2, I shall do these 2 at the leading edge. Two done at the leading edge, again, because I don't want anything to clatter. Nothing is. That's beautifully. Right, now, you can come back down to me again now. Come back down here again. So what we're going to do now is sort out these 2 down here. So at the moment all this lot is loose down here, but it's sort of found its own kind of location where it wants to go to. It's got a magnet on the end of it, this has. It's just covered in swarf now. Let's turn this off actually, we don't need this because we're done. You bastard. Now, right. Where's the, there it is. So let's do this one first, because this one appears to be fairly good order. I didn't do a video on the door control locks. When I do on the passenger side, I'll do that. Because again, there'll be people out there saying, but you didn't show us that, Richard, and that's the bit I wanted to know. And I'm going to say, oh, okay, I don't know. Right, this bolt lines up now. I don't know why it didn't before. So that then goes in there. Yeah, that's in. Even though it's bent, it's in, and it's not putting strain on the door itself. Get that 90% of the way in. Right then, before I finish these off, there is a reinforcing strip that goes on the bottom edge of the window channel. Looks exactly like that. And I tend to put this on next because I think it's actually crash protection more than anything else. But if you get the door all kind of shimmed out and lined up, then you put this on, it can actually pull it all out again. Pull it all out of alignment. Now, strictly speaking, you should put this in while the door is going into the car. And I think the only reason for that is that the bolt that's at this end is difficult to get to. But, you know, I'm a big boy, I can work with it. That needs to go up a smeg. I'll put this one in over here. Working blind on this one because I just can't be bothered to get down onto the floor and look at it. You have days like this, don't you, folks? It's just, the day just gets too long and you just think, oh, I just can't be bothered with it. It's in. I'm not doing them all up tight yet, because I've got one more to go in. And this is, again, this was axis is tight on this. I might need Mr. Torchy. Oh, Mr. Torch has now attached himself to something else. Oh, I don't know what that was. Where is it? There it is. Kind of need to get the screw into your hand the wrong way round. Oh, busted. Could do with having hands less like fucking dinner plates now. Now, if you didn't want to kind of wedge your hand in like this, what you could do is when you're dropping the frame down, stop and use the window regulator hole, and that does actually work. But as you saw, I had the window regulator in it, so I couldn't. Right, come on, you bastard. Put your finger at the end of it next time. It's all fun, this. It really is. I think once you've done one of these, sorry, when you've done 2 dozen of these things, it becomes a bit second nature. Goes. Right, that's that one again. I don't go fucking nuts with them because there's no need to. I don't think this panel is even included on the later cars because I've had door frames where they don't come with that. In fact, the holes aren't even drilled onto that cross beam. It's there for a reason. I guess the cost accountants decided they were going to delete it at some point. Right, now the only thing we haven't done yet, we will be doing next, is just lining up these bottom plates down here. Double check the door shut-iture again. The light's in the car, but you can see there's a little bit of light escaping through up here, which means the seal is not making contact. So what I'm probably going to need to do is to push this inside the door, if you get my drift, because it's going to pivot off this top edge here and pull the top of the door, if you are with me. When this is done, I'm going to shut this door, I'm going to lock up the workshop, and I'm going to go out and put a beer. And there may be a gin involved as well. Anyone fancies buying me a beer, then there's a PayPal me link scrolling across the bottom of your screen. If you fancy donating to the channel, then there's a link, PayPal me link, scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Right, that's done. Again, don't go nuts with them. This one is gone, and this one is done. Right, torch face off. Now let's have a look and see what we've done. So, does it work? Oops. Yes, it does. No longer seeing the light coming through up here. So the seal is working. Well, that's good, isn't it? Oh, it shuts nicely too, and it doesn't rattle.